Is my sound okay? Perfect. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammang sanghang namasami. Welcome to this Tuesday evening program with the Dhamma Dharini community, and on the last Tuesday of the month, joining together with the Dhamma Tuesday program at the Wat Buddhanosorn in the East Bay. Following the tradition of the Wat Buddhanosorn, we shall begin with a brief chanting program. You're welcome to read along and chant with me, but you will be muted so that the delay will not create an echo in the sound that everybody else hears. Directing your attention to the Buddha image that you have in your own hall, or the image that you can see on the screen. Bow 3 times to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Araham Samma Sambuddha Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Savakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Suparipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Namo tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Iti piso Bhagava Araham Samma Sambuddho Vingyakarana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anumtaro Purisadammasarati Samta Deva Manusanang Buddho Bhagavati Svakato Bhagavata Dhammo Samditiko Akaliko Ehipassiko Opanayiko Pachatang Veditamo Vinyuhiti Suparipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ujjupatipanno bhagavato savaka samyo Nyayaparipanno bhagavato savaka samyo Samikkhipatipanno bhagavato savaka samyo Yadidang Chaptari Purisa Yugani Atta Purisa Pungalam Esa Bhagavato Savaka Samyo Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakyoneyo Amdalikaraniyo Anumtarang Punyaketang Loka Sati. Those taking the 5 precepts recite with me. Mayang Bhante Visung Visung Rakanataya Tisaranena Saha Panchasilani Yakchama Dutiyampi Mayang Bhante Visung Visung Rakanataya Tisaranena Saha Panchasilani Yakchama Tatiyampi Mayang Bhante Visung Visung Rakanataya Tisaranena Saha Panchasilani Yakchama Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa Buddhang saranang gacchami Dhammang saranang gacchami Sangham saranang gacchami Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami Panatipata veramani Sikkhapadang samadhiyami Adinadana veramani Sikkhapadang samadhiyami Kame sumikkhachara veramani Sikkhapadang samadhiyami Musavara veramani Sikkhapadang samadhiyami Suramerayamajjapamadatthana veramani Sikkhapadang samadhiyami Sabapapasakaranang Kusala supasampada Sachitta pariyodapanang Etang buddhana sasanam Ananda guna sampanna Janeti janaka ubo Maihang mata pitunang va Pare vandami sadaram hetena sakchavanjenam sarasoti bhavantu me. Pakcharaksharyahanti Gunuttaranusasaka Panyavudhikarete Dinnovade Namamiham Hetena Sakchavanjena Hotu Me Jayamangalam. Sambe Satta Sukhita Hantu Avera Hantu Ambya Panja Hantu Anika Hantu Sukhiyatanang Pariharantu. Turning to meditation, coming to an upright and balanced posture, arranging the body in a way that's stable, balanced, as comfortable, with the legs crossed on the cushion or well placed on the ground if sitting on a chair, and aware of the upright back, aware of the placement of the hands. Aware of the sensations in the body. Relaxing the body. Aware of whatever feeling is there. Aware of the state of mind. what it's like right now. And bringing in the thought of kindness, beginning with yourself, using a phrase of good wishes. May I be safe and happy. Or the phrase that you usually use. Aware of the meaning of kindness. Truly wishing for your true happiness, your true safety. Noticing the feeling of kindness, even feeling it in the body, like the body is touched with the feeling of kindness. And then bringing to mind your mother and father, wherever they are, whether still alive or gone to another existence, and bringing the thought of kindness and good wishes for Mother and Father. May they be safe and happy. Keeping that thought of kindness and aware of the feeling of kindness when it's aimed at the mother and father. May they be well and happy. May they be safe. And bringing to mind my relatives, all those related to me, one by one, wishing for each relative to be happy and safe. If the mind wanders away and doesn't stay with this thought of kindness, know that there may be some hindrance there, some reason the mind doesn't want to rest in kindness for the relatives. Just acknowledging that and coming back to the thought of kindness for each relative. Including your entire family, yourself, mother and father, and all of the other relatives. And that thought of kindness, may all of them be happy and safe. May all of them have true happiness and true safety. And then opening the door to include the friends and neighbors. With the thought of kindness for each one and for all of them. May all of them be well, happy, and safe. And then opening the door of the heart to welcome the strangers with a thought of kindness for all and each. May each one be happy and safe. May all of them be happy and safe. And then reflecting, is there anybody that I've left out of my circle of kindness? Anyone disliked or difficult to think of? Opening the door to include those persons or those kinds of persons. The disliked persons are the difficult ones. Extending the thought of kindness. May they be happy and safe. And bringing to mind all the other beings, all those who can think and feel. The fishes and animals, the birds and the insects, the angels and demons, the gods. May each one of them be happy and safe. Extending the thought of kindness in all directions to every being that is able to recognize kindness, to every being that wants to be happy, to every being that wants to be safe, to every being that wants to live. May each one of them be safe and happy. letting the thought of loving kindness fill the whole space of awareness. To all as to myself. In all directions. For every being. May each one be happy and safe. May all of them be happy and safe. So, dear friends, we're coming up to Thanksgiving. I think this week, in a couple of days, it will be Thanksgiving. And this is, for many people, a time that they would go and visit their relatives and have a meal with their relatives, or possibly including a circle of friends. Or for some people, they will particularly invite somebody to come and join the family, somebody who is not able to be with their own family on Thanksgiving Day. And so they get invited in, so they won't be alone, and they'll be able to be part of a Thanksgiving meal. Or else some people will go to some charity at their public soup kitchen or church or something, where they will be giving out Thanksgiving dinners to people who are truly poor and hungry. And so part of the Thanksgiving celebration is to serve and offer food to strangers in that way. And so it was because of that it occurred to me that one could have the procedure for the loving kindness meditation kind of like in the sequence of whom you would invite to join for your Thanksgiving dinner. There's a way in which people sometimes these days make a joke about Thanksgiving, that it's either boring or stressful or difficult, because the joke is that you've got some relative who's extremely opinionated, who's got different ideas than you, and you have to be able to be with them and not get into a quarrel with them. So it occurred to me to look around in the suttas a little bit to see what the Buddha might recommend about families, getting along with families, and how what are the possibly some of the difficulties that could face families, and what the Buddha recommends. And this particular search brought me some slightly different teachings than the ones that we usually look at. So this is, there's several suttas called the Kula Sutta. Kula means family, or it also means a herd, like a herd of cows or something like that could be called a kula. So the Kula Sutta is about the family. And here's something that the Buddha said in the Book of Fours, Anguttara 4.258. He said, the family that lasts for a long time has 4 qualities. They look for what's lost. They fix old things. They eat and drink in moderation. And they put an ethical woman or man in charge. So if you, especially these days, if you have like a lot of stuff, sometimes it's difficult to keep track of it, and you will be looking for, some particular something. I wanted to have the kind of plastic stand that you could put a piece of paper in and set it on a table that would be a sign. That's an example. So in our family here at this monastery, I know for sure that there is one. I've seen it. And I looked everywhere, but I just couldn't seem to find it. And then this morning, just by happenstance, I was doing something else, tidying up another area of the house, and there it was, the one I knew. I knew it was there, but it had been lost. So if you lose the wealth of your family, then you might have to go out and buy another one or make another one, and then it causes waste, causes poverty. But then there's another way to think about it, and that is to think, are there any people that have been lost from the family because they ran away, or they became alienated or out of touch, or distant relatives, and we just forgot about them, that we don't include them, we don't reach out. And so rather than letting any one be lost, perhaps we could look on Thanksgiving Day, we could look for what's lost and reach out to any long lost relatives if we have one like that. And then the second one is that they fix old things. And again, this is sort of like a question of frugality and not losing the wealth of the family by not just having broken down things be thrown away, thrown in the trash heap just because they're a little bit broken. These days we get things that are made of plastic, and it's quite easy for plastic to be broken. But I have learned that if you simply get some super glue and then some kind of a found powder, it could be like the leftover ashes of like some burned incense, or it could be like baking powder, and you put some, you glue the broken plastic thing, and then you sprinkle the powder on it, and it makes a solid, rock solid, strong mend So some, plastic thing that otherwise would go to the trash heap, we don't need to throw it out because we could fix it. And also, I think if we are able to fix things that we feel better, it's a way, it's a kind of like it's almost like an attitude that, like, if you are using something, even though it's an inanimate object, we could remember how this object came to us. Of course, here in the monastery, every single object was donated by somebody who made a lot of effort to either to make it, like they knitted something, or they sewed something, or else they made something out of wood, or else they went to the office and worked hard to earn some money and used that money to go to the store and buy something. And so then when we're using that thing, then use it gently. Use the things, in a kind of a nice kind of a way to make it last long. And if it seems like it's about to, give out, that maybe just by being having that thought of kindness, then maybe it wouldn't get broken, or if it did get broken, you could fix it. And then among the humans in your family, is there anything broken? Are there any bad relationships because of some unskillful behavior that has not been taken care of, that's left as something broken? And if it's broken, I think it would be very nice, in honor of Thanksgiving, to fix it. And then the third point in the Buddha's teaching was they eat and drink in moderation. So people, it's very good to eat together. Sitting around the table. Not just, I think sometimes in modern families, everybody's so busy that they don't even have enough time to sit down together for the parents and the children, everybody in the family, to sit down at the same time and eat together. So that's very good to do, and it's also very good to go to the temple and offer something to the monastics and have a meal at this together with whoever's come to the temple on that particular day. Obviously, Thanksgiving is famous for overeating, and the Buddha never respected overeating. He always respected eating in moderation. So before you become full, get a glass of water and drink a glass of water instead of taking the last couple of mouthfuls of food. And then the last one is that they put an ethical woman or man in charge of the family. This is again, this is sort of coming to an association that the family seems to be, this is for lay people, the family is connected with gathering up wealth and preserving wealth. Why does a family need to preserve wealth? Because of love. You want to have enough for your loved ones to have the security of having enough. And because you want to provide for that, security and that safety, it's for that reason that you try to accumulate a bit of wealth for your family, not just because of selfishness. It seems to be traditional. We see in some of the stories and some of the suttas that in the Indian families that the man might be going out on different endeavors, perhaps going out on a long journey as a merchant or something, or as a sailor looking for treasures, and then they think that the woman is the one who's staying home, and sometimes the woman is got the special job of preserving the wealth of the family. So if we get any money or any wealth, we let mom look after the money and keep it safe. But if you have a family that's got the stain of dishonesty and bad ethics, it's one of the most painful things possible, isn't it? They say, "Ma me bala samagamo," let me not associate with fools. So the worst type of association with a fool would be like if you were a child, and if your elders were fools, meaning like immoral. How horrible it is for a child to try to grow up in a setting like that, or how terrible it is to be an employee and have an employer like that who's leading you in a dishonest direction. So you hope that for the preservation of the family, that the leaders of the family will have that good sila for their own sake and for the whole family. There is a kind of a way that family life is beset with anxiety, and for those of us who are who've kind of given up on the materialistic world and we're not really seeking to accumulate wealth anymore, for those of us who are like a 100% dedicated and to the Dhamma, then we're not that much concerned about wealth. But if we go to visit our relatives, it could be that some of our relatives are still into that wealthy seeking mode. And here's a different sutta that's got 8 causes for the destruction of families. And these are all ways that the families lose their wealth: on account of the king or the government, on account of thieves, on account of fire, on account of water, or that they lose the things that they have. They can't find the things that they put away somewhere, or they have mismanaged their undertakings and have a failure in business, or else there arises in the family a wastrel who squanders, dissipates, and fritters away the wealth of the family, and finally simply because of impermanence. Or in another sutta it says, whatever wealth the son of a family receives through work and effort, gathers by the strength of his arm, earns by the sweat of his brow, and justly obtains by right means, he has to guard it and watch over it so that the king will not seize it, so that thieves will not steal it, fire will not burn it, water will not wash it away, or unloving heirs will not take it away. So this is the anxiety of family life. I believe that the 4 bullet points that I mentioned at the top are sort of like putting a guardrail around the wealth of the family, for the safety of the family, just the same way that the Blessed One, when he established the Sangha, he gave the Dhamma is the wealth of the Sangha, and then the precepts are the guardrail that protects against that wealth being lost and fruited away. There's another sutta that's very famous called Dasa Dhamma. And one of the reflections there is about the karma. We also see this in the 5 things that are to be reflected upon always. So the Buddha gives 5 things for lay people and 10 things for monastics to be reflected upon always. And the expression is the one that is relevant to my theme about families is I am the owner of my karma, born of my karma, related to my karma, protected by my karma. Whatever karma I shall do, for good or for ill, of that I shall be the heir. The particular vocabulary in the Pali is using terminology which also applies to family life. So being the owner of the karma, it's like it's your inheritance. So if you were born in a family of carpenters, you inherit the carpentry business. So you inherit the karma, whatever karma brought you to have a human birth. And then in the sutta it says that you own that karma. And then when it says born of my karma, the word is the yoniso, which has got a literal meaning of the womb. So it's an immediate comparison to a human being or an animal who is born from a mother is just the same way. The reason I got interested in this particular reflection was when we are taught so often to say, this is not me, not mine, not myself, I am not the owner of this. So we learn to relinquish and not to be having ownership. And so then why is this verse saying, I am the owner of my karma? And I think that the reason why it's given in that way, in this particular reflection, is that it's making a comparison to the things in the secular world, the secular wealth, that people think that they own. And it's saying that you don't really own your wealth or your relatives or your family, but you own your karma in a much more real sense, that the karma is much more consequential and fundamental. Karma yoni, the karma that I'm born from my karma, just like my mother. And then when you say I'm related to my karma, that's the matrix of all of the relatives, that a person is embedded in the surrounding circle of humans. And even a person's identity is so much influenced by their position in relationship to their circle of their human family. or whatever kind of beings that they are able to be sensitive and feel themselves in relationship to. And then it says, Kama is my protector. So in a traditional family, a traditional Indian family, or many traditional families, then either your father or your parents or your older relatives will be your protectors. So if you get in trouble, you can call on your relatives and they will come to protect you. Or if some bully is picking on you, then your relatives will come out and chase the bully away because your relatives are protecting you. And so, but we don't anymore depend on being protected by our friends or our relatives or human friends, because we say Kama is our protector. Kama is the real protector. So, and then whatever karma we do, for good or for ill, that becomes my inheritance. So this is like a complete replacing of this whole concern, like there's the dukkha of the accumulation of wealth that a family has to do because of their love and desire to provide security to their loved ones, and then the continuous worry about trying to protect the wealth of the family and not allow it to be lost or taken away, or even realizing in a mood of anxiety that some disaster, rain, fire, flood, or a war could blow away everything that's been built up as far as the materialistic wealth of the family. So that's like the instability and the insecurity of family life. But those who have come to the Dhamma and made that transformation about seeing where our true security is, where the true safety is, where the true refuge is. So sort of the initial starting point, the foundation of the security that we realize in this path of wisdom, is to understand that the matrix of the karma that we've inherited from the past and the karma that we are creating moment by moment is our real wealth and the foundation. We're in the subsequent stages of development in this practice, the subsequent levels of purification and letting go that finally brings us to liberation. I have a couple of quotes to give you about gratitude, because it's Thanksgiving, but perhaps I'll stop now and see whether anybody here would like to share how the Dhamma will help you to make it through Thanksgiving, how the Dhamma helps you to have the best possible way of expressing kindness towards family, including those who are on the same wavelength as we are in terms of the Dhamma, and also those who may have different ideas. So I would like to welcome any thoughts that you may have to report about that, or any questions. Okay, Nita and Saket.
Hello, good evening, Ayya, and thank you for this talk on, Thanksgiving and family. And I was just thinking, the point about fixing old things. It just occurred to me that, and I don't know if this makes sense, but I felt that people who value old things and try to fix them and don't just quickly discard them and want to bring in the shiny new thing. I think they may tend to be more compassionate to the older people in their family as well. um, I felt I thought I could see some sort of a correlation there.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that people who tend to, not just discard the old, they may also have more love and compassion for the old members of their family.
Thank you. Uh, of course, if somebody is ill, especially as the body gets older, it has a more of a tendency to have illnesses and even chronic illnesses. And so then, if you would help your relative to take care of themselves when the body becomes more weak and more frail, if you give them a nice massage, that would help them. Give them a nice shoulder rub, and that would help them very much, and helping to make sure that they go to the doctor, give them a ride to go to the doctor. There's one photograph that sticks in my mind of a young Sri Lankan man who's carrying his mother. She's quite tiny, and he's just kind of got her on his hip the same way that like a mother would carry a child. So this strong and healthy young man is carrying his mom on his hip, and it is indeed it's true, a true thing that to take care of, to repair old things is to try to help our old relatives to overcome their illnesses and their disabilities. I had a minor knee thing that happened to me. It's been bothering for a couple of weeks, and when I came down to give this talk, one of my colleagues, I'm not sure which one it was, they arranged this very, very comfortable chair for me to sit in, so that I can be able to give this talk without putting any kind of strain or challenge on the knee. And so these small acts of kindness really, they are so healing to the heart to have these little acts of kindness. Yeah. Thank you. If any of our monastics has got something to share, I would welcome. Do you want to say something? Okay, Corina.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see everybody. I appreciated. I've heard that. I know this sutta has the five. I think it's five reflections, five for frequent recollection. And I know the one about the karma I'm very familiar with it. But I really appreciated how you compared it, or explained how the wealth of a family and how we normally think about protection through wealth or through family, and how it seems like the Buddha used that familiar concept to people to transform it into the understanding of karma. So yeah, I just thought it gives me a new perspective.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for that.
Sure. This is the advantage of knowing Pali, because a lot of times the Buddha would take ideas that were sort of like ordinary common ideas that everybody knows. Even a baby can understand it. And then he would elevate the meaning to something which is providing a very important foundation for progress on the path, or even something that's very sublime. There's one other Pali word that I use as an example about these sublime meanings. The name of our Sangha here is called Dhamma Dharini. So Dharini is referring to carrying something or upholding something. Dhara would be the masculine, Dharini is the feminine. So a Dhammadhara or Dhammadharini is someone who has memorized the Dhamma, or somebody who is upholding the Dhamma. Or you could say a Vinayadhara or a Vinayadharini is somebody who has memorized the precepts. A Suttadhara, somebody who's memorized the suttas and is an expert in whatever branch you've learned. But then there's a double meaning, which I found in the dictionary, that always makes me feel so happy. When the there's actually two meanings. One is if you get a coat or a jacket, when you put it on, then you use that same word, dharini, dhara, you're carrying the jacket. So you can take this Dhamma that you learned, you put it on, and then you wear it as you go through your life and see what does that do to your life while you're carrying the Dhamma with you, like you would carry a jacket. And then the other double meaning in a dhara or a dharini is when a young man and a young woman gets married, he picks her up and carries her away. And so it's like, in the West we have this thing of being carried over the threshold. And so then that kind of carrying, then it's like both a joy and a commitment. So it's like if I hear the Dhamma and I take it, and I take it with a kind of like commitment. I'm going to keep it. I mean to keep this Dhamma for the rest of my life. And I'm so joyful because of having gained this Dhamma. So like I got married to the Dhamma. And so that's another, there's many ways in which I think it's without trying to distort or neglect the standard meaning of the sutta and the meanings that are explained in the commentary. One can understand like the literal basic meaning, and then one can see that there are these overtones or these undertones behind it that give it a kind of like some emotional richness. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for that.
If I may, it reminds me very much of the story you said earlier with the young man carrying his frail mother. So it's kind of like it's another way to take care or maybe
Yeah.
repair.
Right?
Ayya Sobhana, may I just say one thing, which is I haven't been seeing these talks on YouTube. Sometimes I can't make the Tuesday nights, and I haven't seen anything since the Vasa ended, actually.
Oh, that's a really good point. I think a switch got accidentally switched off. And I think I'm just going to look now. This is streaming on Facebook, and it should be streaming on the YouTube as well. Yeah, I think since last time, I've now got both buttons pushed the right way, so you should be able to see tonight and also last Sunday. Should be on the YouTube. Okay, so thank you for mentioning that. I can read the sutta about gratitude or make a quotation about gratitude. We know that in the Mangala Sutta, gratitude is one of the qualities that's to be developed. It's called katanyuta, which is knowing what was done. The kata means what was done, and yuta means knowing. And then there's another Pali word, which is called katavedi. So vedi is like you feel what was done. So a person who is, it's translated as a person who is grateful and thankful. Katanyu is translated as a person grateful, and katavedi is translated as thankful, but it's knowing what was done and feeling what was done. The Buddha said there are 5 treasures, 5 ratanas that are rare in the world. What 5? A realized one, a perfected one, a fully awakened Buddha. A teacher is the first one. Then a teacher of the teaching and training proclaimed by the realized one. Second. And third, a person who understands the teaching and training proclaimed by the realized one. That's the third. And then the fourth, a person who practices in line with the teaching is the fourth one, the fourth treasure. And then the fifth treasure, the last treasure, a person who is grateful and thankful. So in this sutta, it seems like gratitude is like the entry level. A person who has that appreciation. And another sutta, he said that the bhumi, the level or the domain of an untrue person. An untrue person is ungrateful and unthankful. The wicked only know how to be ungrateful and unthankful. It's totally the level of an untrue person to be ungrateful and unthankful. The true person is grateful and thankful. The virtuous only know how to be grateful and thankful. It is totally the level of a true person to be grateful and thankful. Mendicants, I say, these two people, that's this one. So I find that sutta is quite interested in saying that the virtuous only know how to be grateful and thankful. So that really brings up a very strong marker that if I have the arising of gratitude, I can feel this has got some kind of a marker, some kind of a connection with my sila. And so I can really rejoice in it, that it's not just that it's something that feels good for a minute, but it's also connected to virtue. And if I would happen to catch myself failing to be appreciative, failing to be grateful, failing to be thankful, then according to this sutta, I should really be frightened, because then it would be going off into the realm of an untrue person. This is sappurisa, is the word that's translated. Here, Bhante Sujata has translated the sappurisa, the untrue person, as a wicked person. And sappurisa, what's called a true person, he's translating it as a virtuous person. Sappurisa is someone who's really living up to what it means to be human, like the best of what it is to be human. And who knows which two people cannot easily be repaid? You raise your hand if you know the answer. Which two people cannot be easily repaid? You know the answer. Mother and father, right? Okay. Yes. Mother and father. Even if you carried your mother around on one shoulder and your father on the other, if you lived like this for 100 years, if you were to anoint, massage, bathe, and rub them, even if they defecate and urinate right there, even if you establish them as monarchs, abounding in 7 treasures, you still have not done enough to repay them. Why? Because they're so helpful to children. Raise them, nurture them, show them the world. But if you want to do enough for your parents, the one thing to do, if you encourage, settle, and ground unfaithful parents in faith, if you encourage, settle, and ground unethical parents in ethical conduct, if you encourage, settle, and ground stingy parents in generosity, or if you encourage, settle, and ground ignorant parents in wisdom, then you have paid them back for what they did when they gave you life and made it possible to live. Karuna.
So while we were looking at this, I also toggled onto Ajahn Jeff's translation, and he doesn't have the word only. And I was also looking for it in the Pali, but I really like the word only there because it's basically saying, even if the subject of the person to whom you should have gratitude and thankfulness isn't perfect, as many of our relatives aren't, what you see is only something that gives you gratitude and thankfulness. And I've had occasion with family in the past couple of months to reflect on the metaphor of the cow's footprint. And whatever little good is in the footprint of this cow, the Buddha gives this amazing image of you're going to kneel down in the mud in the desert and put your mouth to that footprint to suck out like any water, right? And I think that's, like a good reflection to have at the back of your mind when you're going into challenging family situations too, is that whatever you might feel about the other 99% of their behavior or their actions, if you can find this 1% and have appreciation for this 1%, you're following the instructions of the Buddha, right?
Yeah. Thank you. That's really true. And, a parent is never able to bat 1,000. No matter what, they will not. It will not be possible. They always have to make choices, and they will make mistakes. But we know that they meant well. They were trying to the best that they knew how to help you to grow up to be a good person. So I need to give the links to the citations for the suttas that I read. So the first one about the 4 things. That one is 4.258. That's the 4 things about a wealthy family. And then this one is about the 5 treasures that are rare in the world, culminating in the treasure of one who's grateful. And then in the chapter on the peaceful mind, this is 32 and 33. 2.32 is about the grateful person and the ungrateful person, and 33 is about mother and father. And then the last one is Samyutta 42.9 is another kula. This is 8 causes of the destruction of families. Okay, I'll give you one more. This will be a bonus. I go to 9.17. It's 9 things that you can respect. And the last one that you can respect is hospitality. So it's Thanksgiving, and we should practice hospitality. And we can know that it's somewhere within, really at the level of these are teachings that the Buddha is giving for, especially for lay people. Sakkalya or Sakkala, which means congenial or kindness in speech. And for lay people, it means to do your duty to your family, to do public service, to practice courtesy, to practice civil or polite conduct, proper conduct in society, and also keeping society free from crime. So those things like creating a pleasant, it's like basically making your, whatever the domain is, whatever part of society you have part of it, making that into a safe place for a person to live and practice is an aspect of what's called worldly hospitality. And then is what they call spiritual hospitality is mentioned in terms of acts of kindness towards renunciants and practitioners. That, like in the Sigalovada Sutta, the renunciate could practice acts, words, and thoughts of loving kindness, and welcoming them in your home, and providing for the material needs of the mendicant monastics. With that sutta, 9.17, the Kula Sutta, mentions hospitality. That's the only place that I've found in all the teachings of the Buddha where he specifically mentions hospitality as a good thing. But it's good to think that when we approach these civil holidays or these Western holidays, that we won't be forgetting the Dhamma. We can observe the holidays of our Western culture and still do it in a way that's compatible with the Dhamma. This Thanksgiving, I think I've heard that somebody is going to bring some Thanksgiving food to us, and so we're going to be able to eat in moderation together with families. So this may be enough for now. I appreciate everybody's practice and your patient listening, and I wish you all a peace and happiness. May you be safe, and may all of your relatives be safe, and may all of your family members be safe wherever they are. Araham Samma Sambuddha Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Svakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namassami Supartipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samham Namami.
Thank you, Ayya, for the lesson. We bow to our teacher. Good night, Ayya.
Okay, good night.